My next game review is a Neo Geo game which I picked up some time ago. The game is Top Hunter, Roddy Cathy. And this is a little bit different to my normal game reviews because I've already made the decision that at some point in the future I will be selling this game. The reason for that will become clear in just a moment as we take a look at the fact file for the game. So Top Hunter was released in 1994. My copy is a US version, but there is also a Japanese version. The game was published and developed by SNK, and the price I paid £55. The current going rate though is £200 plus. It can go for anything up to 500 depending on the version. I think the Japanese version does command a little bit more, and also the quality of the condition of the game obviously. So yeah, at some point I will sell the game simply because it's kind of a nest egg game. I'm going to get at least 4 times what I paid for it back when I do sell it, hopefully. I'm not exactly sure when I'll sell it, but when I do I'll definitely make some money on it. But I thought I should at least try and give a good look at the game, play it through, evaluate just how good it is, and you never know, maybe I'll change my mind, but to be honest I don't think that I will. So let's take a look at the game. As always, let's start off by taking a look at the packaging for the game, but firstly let's just take a look at the cartridging. This is something that will slightly affect the value of my copy of the game because the label on the cartridge is a bit on the ripped side. It looks like someone's tried to actually open the cart shell up at some point in the past. Don't know why that happened, but there we go. So the box is big, obviously, to hold that massive cartridge, and it's got some nice artwork on the front with the 2 characters centre stage and some of the enemies scattered around as well. Spine is just the name of the game, obviously. And back cover, we've got some nice screenshots from the game, and the headline, "Clean up the Space Pirates," and a bit of blurb. It's the time of the age of space colonialism. The dreaded Claptons are on the loose, turning peaceful settlements into deserted ghost towns. And Roddy and Cathy have got to do something about it, it looks like. So let's now move on to the instructions, which have got the same artwork on the front. And inside, lots of blurb about the game, pictures of the characters. Whole story there, which I'm not going to read, but there it is. So Roddy's a space bounty hunter and his sidekick is the curvaceous Cathy. So then we go on to controls, basically the usual stuff. Game difficulty, loading from a memory card if you've got one. Stage selection, starting the game. Bit of a shame it's all in black and white because it's a very colourful game and a very colourful front cover, but yeah, obviously they didn't want to spend any money on making the inside colour. So it tells you how to use all the controls, how you control them for punching, jumping and so on. We'll get onto that when we play the game, obviously. Weapons that you can pick up, lots of pickups it looks like. And the fact that you can jump into these robo vehicles. Then an overview of the 4 planets that you can visit in the game. And then an overview of some of the enemies, including grunts, brutes and thugs. And then some of the different bosses, I think these are. So Snow Gorilla, Armadillo, Big Man, and hidden bounty hunter moves. So there's some special moves you can deploy as well by the looks of it. And finally a nice wanted poster on the back. I assume this is the main bad guy that you've got to try and track down within the game. Back cover is just plain grey with a Neo Geo logo on it. So here's the familiar Neo Geo boot up screen. And a bit of warning information. And this is one of the earliest 100 mega shot cartridges, hence that little splash screen there. And then it kicks off the intro to the game with this fruit machine, which features nowhere else in the game as far as I'm aware of, so I'm not sure why it does that. But there you go, it does that, and there's the Top Hunter logo. Top Hunter Roddy Cathy to give it its full name. And that's pretty much it. Then it goes into demo mode, so let's get started. So the only options you've got are the difficulty level, We'll just stick with normal. Then it tells you how to play, which is fairly straightforward. There's a punch button, as you can see. And you can pick characters up and throw them. In fact, you know what, let's skip this because it goes on a little bit. Let's just get to the stage select screen. So you can choose from 4 different stages, which are wind, fire, forest and ice, so kind of variations on the 4 elements. And I've waited too long and I'm going to the ice planet. I was going to start on the earth or forest planet, but there you go, we'll go with this. So because there's 4 different types of stage, what I'm actually going to do is just play the first level of each rather than going through the 10-minute time limit that I usually do. So you can pick objects up and smash them at enemies, you can pick enemies up and throw them, you can punch enemies with this long punch. That's all with the A button. The B button's jump, which you can use to jump and collect things and jump on objects. And there's also a C button, which transfers you between the front and back of the screen, which is something that fans of another Neo Geo game, Fatal Fury, might be aware of, because you can do that in that fighting game. Time in this game, unusually, is actually quite important. It does run out fairly quickly, so picking up the time bonuses is quite an important thing to do, although for some reason I can't get that one. Probably because it's on the foreground. Yeah, that does get a bit confusing at times. So I'll carry on working my way through. It's hard to say whether it's a platform game or a run and gun / beat 'em up game. It's got the elements of platforming in that you pick objects up, like dropped coins and things like that, but on the other hand, there's not actually many platforms to negotiate, so it's really more of a kind of scrolling fighter style game, I suppose. But I still like to think of it more as a platformer because of the cute characters as well. But there's lots of things you can interact with in the environment, including these chains which you can pick up, so you can pull and then pick up the objects that are given away by them. There's also secret levels you can go into, like this one, which takes you to a bonus screen where, slightly reminiscent of Wonder Boy, you ride a skateboard, although on this level it's actually a sledge because obviously it's got the snow theme. On other versions, on other stages, it's actually a skateboard, which we'll see soon enough, I'm sure. So there is a bonus to be had for picking up all the things, which I don't think I've managed to do. You get a perfect round. And objects that can hurt you as well. Yeah, I've missed a couple of things there. But I have got some kind of special power up there. I think I just missed one right at the end there, which is quite irritating. So then you go back to the main screen and we continue on. So I've got some kind of power up there. You can see there, ooh, don't like you. I think I've got to jump into the background and pull that thing, which looks quite a dangerous thing to do. There we go. So I actually started on one of the harder levels, which is not what I intended to do. Some of the other levels are easier than this. It does take a little bit of time to get used to the whole transferring between the foreground and the background. This has got slidey surfaces with it being an ice-based level as well. Oops, something's got me. I'm not doing particularly well here. I might even get to the end of this level, though I'm getting close to the boss now, I think. What do we do with that? There we go. So you can see at the bottom of the stage there's a progress bar, I suppose, for wanting a better expression. And when you get to the end of the stage, there's a boss to face. There's a lever to press there as well, I'm not sure what that does, but I can't get into the foreground at the moment, it seems. So we've got to make our way along the background. Okay, so I think this is the first boss coming up now. Oh dear. Yeah, this is going to be challenging. Oh, okay, so you've got to pull that. You've got to manoeuvre your way between these two things. Oh, I'm getting squished. No, and I'm dead. So yeah, that was probably the most difficult of the levels, and I didn't even get past the end of it, so that was slightly disappointing for you guys viewing. I will play the other levels now, and you'll see that some of them are a little bit easier than that. At the end of a stage, if you choose to go to game over, you can continue, by the way, I just didn't. You can save to the memory card if you've got one, but I'm not going to do that. So that was game over on the hardest of the stages that I've actually played. Let's go to some of the easier ones now. Okay, so with the more difficult ice world covered a little bit, let's go to the easiest one, which presumably is the forest, because that's the one that comes up first. So off we fly to the forest. And the first level of the forest level, first stage, sorry. So as you've already seen, it's much the same. The graphics are obviously significantly different in terms of the environment. Most of the enemies are quite similar, however. You can see you can pick certain enemies up and throw them at others, or you can just slam them quite easily as well. So the mechanisms of play I've already really covered, so let's have a talk about the graphics and sound, which I didn't mention at all because I was too busy trying to fight off a bunch of enemies. So graphics are very cute and chunky. This game was developed by some of the team that did Metal Slug, I believe, and I think you can certainly see that in these graphics. Similar sort of characters, although they're a bit more colourful than Metal Slug. And the sound is similarly jolly for this kind of game. It's bouncy tunes and nice cartoon style sound effects. So all in all, it's a very nicely presented, nice looking game. Oh, got flattened by a big wall. So I'll continue on through. As I said, it's not really a platformer, although it has some elements of a platformer. It's more of just a scrolling beat 'em up. And there is, as you can see here, and again this is a precursor to Metal Slug, you can jump into these mechs. And they jump, you can move backwards and forwards in the landscape with those as well. There's food to pick up, which again is very platformer style really. I think I lost a leg there, or is that a leg from something else? I'm not sure. It's a foot anyway. Oh. Okay, yeah, the mech's had it now. It's blown up, but as you can see, bits of it get left behind, so you still get another chance to use it as a weapon, which is quite cool. That's a gun there, so that's also useful. So now it becomes more like a run and gun. Because I can't actually pick that up. Oh, I did mention time is quite important in this game. I'll nearly run out. Why can't I get that box? Time over. That was a bit of a disaster. When you run out of time, you run out of life. It's not a straight game over. So this is like a mid-level boss, kind of an airship, where they're throwing hand grenades at you. What's going on now? What have I missed? Oh, okay, that thing at the front. Oh, get off me! There we go, got you. There's left behind lots of goodies. I don't know what really happens with the coins, other than I assume they're just points really. I don't think you use them in any kind of shops or anything like that. Yeah, having the gun's useful. There's a bit of time as well, that's what I needed before. Oh well, that's going to kill me off, is it? Oh, I've still got one more life. That was irritating, like a plant. Okay, so here's the first boss. And as you can see, he looks remarkably like a certain boss character from a certain Capcom fighting game. I don't know if that was a bit tongue-in-cheek or what, but I think he's killed me there. Yeah, that's game over. Well, let's just continue just to finish him off. Even though I said I wasn't going to do that. Come here. As you can see, if you hit the punch button enough times, you do like a bit of a flying fist thing, like another character from Street Fighter, a certain sumo wrestler. can see, he uses the other plane of the plane area quite frequently. But it's easy just to stay at the front and wait for him to jump back and forth. So there you go, I got him, and that's the first level completed. I had to use that continue because I made a bit of a mess of it earlier on. So we're on now to the fire level, fire planet I should say, and the first stage of that. And I've decided to play the last two planets as player 2, just to see if there's any difference. Player 2 is Cathy, and she's a girl, obviously. She still has the long fists, it would appear. I notice she's materialised on the rear of the two planes of the plane area, rather than the foreground. She's in the background. Obviously she can still jump into the foreground when she needs to. There you go. So, some interesting music on this one, it's a bit bassy. And there's some interesting sort of environmental effects as well on this stage, with the little flames all firing up. I assume they're flames. Super time. So let's see how we get on this now. I don't really have a lot more to say about the game in terms of gameplay and characters and things. The enemies are a bit run-of-the-mill. They're basically the same enemy repeated over and over for the most part until you get to the later elements of the level. Nice power up there. So this time I'm focusing more on actually playing the game rather than making a hash of it like I've done the previous 2 attempts. There's another one of those mechs there, which I'm sure is about to come in quite useful. Oh, irritating. So this is like a coal mine kind of thing, I think. So here's one of those bonus levels I was talking about earlier. And as you can see, this one is more like a skateboard than anything else. Which is a bit of a shame. You'd think in a mine it would be more like a mine train, but there you go. Oh. Doing pretty well so far. Is there a chance I might actually get the full lot of power-ups? I think I did there. Full lot of collectibles. Perfect bonus. And stuff happened. Bonus time and all kinds of good stuff. So they're nice little interludes during the game. To say the background music on this particular level is not the best, in my opinion. There's some levers to switch, which is a very platformy sort of thing, but then all they do is just drop you a load of power-ups. You don't actually open any doors or anything like that, it seems. So yeah, very minimal platforming elements to it, as I've already mentioned several times, I think. It does seem you can't grab it. Oh, maybe you can. Oh, I see, that was like a trap to try and get the guys in the foreground. I'd already killed them. Ooh, bombs on this level as well. Oh, I'm at the end of the level boss already, that didn't take long. And with me having the mech at the moment as well, that should put me in good shape to get this guy. As you can see, the boss is exactly the same as the other level. It's another M. Bison clone. But he seems to be easier than the last guy for the most part, although he has got the flamethrower. That wasn't ideal. But I've killed him off without losing a life. I think I managed the whole stage there without losing a life, which was nice. So let's move on to the final planet and take a look at that. And the final planet is Wind. So let's take a look at the windy planet. So on this stage you will find more environmental or specifically weather style effects. soon enough we'll be seeing some of those, I'm sure. Same sort of array of fairly repetitive enemies. Oh, this guy's doing like a slide on me. Nice background there, waterfall. A little bit of parallax scrolling, which I hadn't mentioned before as well, between the foreground and the background. Oh, this looks interesting. What is going on here? Oh, okay. So some of the levers drop bad stuff. Hey, oh, this doesn't sound good. Oh, boulders. It is very generous with the power-ups, this game. It's also not particularly difficult for the most part, certainly on these earlier levels. It's only really the ice level generally that's caused me any kind of problems. All the others seem to be quite simple, and that's probably, I think that was a criticism of the game, in fact, that it's a bit on the easy side. But it is a nice game nonetheless, very nice looking, nice music, nice animation on the characters, nice sound effects, all just very nice really. And this is the wind that I was talking about, the wind effect, so obviously you've got to push against them to try and get past them. It doesn't prove to be particularly challenging. So I think that pretty much sums it up. There's not really a lot more to say about the game. We've seen a bit of all the levels now. They're all slightly different environments, different things to do in some cases, different kind of bosses on some of them, but also exactly the same bosses on some of them, it seems. Oh, I can't go over the back. So in some places the foreground and background split, so you can't get from one to the other. So yeah, the mechs are a nice addition, like trundling around a big robot. Obviously reminiscent of Metal Slug as well. Something interesting is about to happen here. Oh, hello. What's the aim here then? I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing. It's always got something to do with the wind. Oh, I think you're just supposed to avoid this then, are you? And not get blown into it by the wind. No, you can actually hit it, but only when you're not the mech, it seems. Oh, I'm not paying any attention to this at all. Yeah, so it's basically trying to blow you into the path of these things. Oh, I've got zapped a lot there. Never mind. So, has it changed my mind about getting rid of it? No, it hasn't, and the reason for that is just because it's worth so much money. That said, I'm in no great rush to get rid of it. It's just when I need the money, I will. This will be one of the games I sell. And what I'll probably do, because I do quite enjoy the game, is get the MVS version for my arcade Neo Geo cab, because you can get that for about 60 or 70 quid. If I get 150 to 200 quid for this game, then why not spend some of the money getting exactly the same game and still have hopefully at least 100 quid to do what I want with, whatever that might be. So with another M Bison clone about to be dispatched hopefully, I think we'll call it a day. That was Top Hunter.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
2, 1, 0.